So Wicked is a musical fantasy comedy movie based on the incredibly popular stage show of the same name, and this has got some brilliant modernized social commentary. I mean, it does feel very much like a part 2 of a movie rather than a full standalone film, which I think is fair enough, as of course the play is split into 2 parts, and so the movie naturally is split into 2 parts as well. I do feel like they could have condensed it all into one film, because this film does definitely feel like it drags on a little bit for me personally, but it performed incredibly well in the box office, and so I feel like people were fine with the fact that it is split. I think it's interesting, as audiences have been really mixed. Sometimes the splitting of 2 films can work incredibly well, like with Avengers Infinity War and with Endgame, as well as with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and Part 2. But then very interestingly, people really rejected the idea with Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning being split into 2 films. I think the way in which the narrative of this movie is told across this film is actually really good, as you're truly rooting for Elphaba, as I feel like the audience can really see and relate to the fact in which society is really rejecting and discriminating her purely because of the way in which she looks. And I think this is in complete stark contrast with how much society is absolutely obsessed with Glinda. I'm really surprised that they didn't do more with the animal subplot. I hope that they do pick this up in the sequel, as I feel like that sequence with Dr. Dillerman losing his ability to speak, I honestly found it so haunting, as this movie has demonstrated that Elphaba is the only real character with superpowers, yet this goat is losing his ability to speak, as well as a lot of other animals. And so I feel like the social commentary here was absolutely outstanding in terms of, you know, people that are oppressed, bullied, silenced. This does actually impact their ability to speak out, which I just think is super chilling, as well as the fact that they're now going to cage these animals, which you could say is social commentary towards extreme groups, really caging people and really stopping them from speaking out and then scapegoating them. And then what's even more deadly is the fact that they then take credit for their work. For example, when Elphaba was unknowingly using her powers right in the beginning when everybody's being enrolled in school, you can see that the emblem of the Wizard of Oz, when this is removed, it then uncovered that actually animals were the owners and the founders of the Shiv University. And so in turn, I just think Elphaba is just depicted in such a good way, as she not only is really rebellious, but she is so defiant in not wanting to be boxed into the place in which society wants to put her in. So she not only wants to be free, but she also wants to speak out when she sees wrong things. So I think she is just such a brilliant icon. And then by contrast, once again, Glinda is happy to do anything that society wants her to do in order to maintain her popularity, even if it means taking a blind eye against oppression and seeing things that are wrong. And I feel like the Wizard of Oz, I've never seen him depicted in such a villainous way, along with Madame Morrible. I feel like as a duo, them two are absolutely awful, and they are the true villains of this story. And I think it's incredibly chilling as they come across as super charismatic and so nice, especially towards Elphaba, when they're pretty much manipulating her into basically doing their dark bidding for them. And they want to just keep her here under the false pretense of, you know, this is the dream scenario of being in this palace with the Wizard of Oz. And she was very quick to realize that it's all a charade, it's all fake. He is pretty much just a con man, and they just want to really nefariously use her powers to firstly turn these monkeys into winged creatures, which firstly the monkeys don't know about, and then at the same time Elphaba doesn't even know that this is the spell that she is casting. And the reason that the Wizard of Oz wants this is because he wants to use them to basically spy on everyone. It's honestly so dark. And then when Elphaba is understandably wanting to reject all of this and not wanting to take a part in any of it, Madame Morrible and the Wizard of Oz are then so evil, as they then create so much hysteria, both with the animals and with humans, with putting all of the blame on Elphaba and then grooming Glinda to now take her place. It's honestly so insane. I really like the way in which they've created the dynamic between Elphaba and Nezarose, as it's a bit of a reluctant relationship, and so many people are poisoning Nezarose against Elphaba, so I can't wait to see what they're going to be doing with this relationship in the sequel. and especially with Bok being in the mix as well, and you just know that he's going to break her heart. I thought Jonathan Bailey was pretty disappointing as Fiyero. I thought his musical number was really cool, especially with all of the moving set pieces in the library, but I just feel like as a character he just lacked presence and he didn't really have that much of a personality, and he definitely didn't have any chemistry with Glinda or with Elphaba. I'm sure though that he'll be a lot better in the sequel. I think from a song's point of view the majority of them were pretty average. I think Defying Gravity as the final number of this movie was absolutely extraordinary. I feel like they rightly put so much focus on this being such an epic moment. Firstly, all of the build up towards this moment taking place, and then Elphaba's journey in the final 10 minutes I thought was absolutely extraordinary. Firstly, when she's breaking through the glass and then cannot control the witch's broom properly, and then when she sees her younger self, who was also pretty abused and victimized by so many different people reaching out to her. This is a thing that then gives her the boost and the magic and the push that she really needed. And I think Popular was a really good song to really demonstrate what Glinda is all about. And I feel like rightly so, the production design and the costumes won all of the Oscars and all of the awards lately, as they were absolutely extraordinary, and I cannot wait to see how they're going to top this in the sequel. Speaking of the sequel, I think it was the wrong decision to make this movie a year apart. They definitely should have just made part 2 a summer movie. But regardless, when it does come out, I'm sure it'll be absolutely extraordinary, and it will be interesting to see if that movie is going to be able to make $1 billion. So I did enjoy Wicked, but like I said, it definitely felt like the first part of a movie, and it's a little bit frustrating that we have to wait so long for the next one. But there definitely is so much good things in this movie to enjoy, and so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give Wicked a solid 6.5 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear from you. What did you think of Wicked? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.